Welcome to this new course, to this new lecture, this time on data integration and why should we care about data integration. So, to start with, we should maybe explain a bit why there is a need, why do we discuss even data integration? Because data, and the data that we need to perform analysis and make decisions, data is scattered. Data is not just a list of files or a list of data points without any form. I like to say that by saying that you don't get data on tap, right? It's actually data assumes many forms. It needs basically to be aggregated. So let's take customer data as an example. The customer data actually targets or concerns different compartments of or different facets of your customer. You might have data concerning the behavior of your customer. This would be the past transactions of your customers with you, so basically their purchase history and their reaction to to the contacts that they had with you. You might also have personal information about your customer, which would just record your customer's characteristics in terms of demographics. So is it their gender, age, place of living, place of work, well, anything you would have in a usual profile. So their demographics and maybe their preferences as well, such as their tastes for cultural goods, or their political taste as well, or anything that, well, political taste would be out of boundary, I suppose, but anything that would characterize their preferences. Customers, you also need to have data about how did they react to your marketing actions. So did they follow through the emails that you send them? Did they click on banners where your products were advertised? All of that is another big portion of data that you need to know your customer. And finally, you have data about your customer that derives from the analysis that you perform on the customer, such as the estimated propension to purchase your next product. This is data that you computed yourself on your customer, but that's still different from the previous kind of data we discussed. So data, I hope it's clear by now, comes in multiple forms and is very much in need of being assembled or aggregated in order to have information on how you should treat your customers. But this situation of data being scattered in so many different places and being of such different nature, this situation gets even worse with the multiplication of distribution channels. Because when you had, so I'll just take this example of a big French bank, Société Générale. If you had just a couple of distribution channels, the data about your customers could be generated through well, just a few of these channels, such as outdoor advertising, or radio, TV, and print media, point of sale, and call centers. So that's where the main channels where customers interacting with you or your product could generate data about these customers. But that was 15 years ago. Now the channels through which you can learn about your customers multiply because of the digital transformation. So Twitter, YouTube, online banking, the mobile app where you check your bank accounts, online media, not just print, but their online counterparts. All of that multiplied the places where you could gather data about your customers, but it also multiplied the kind of data that you would have. I mean, clicks on your e-commerce website. That's a kind of data that is very informative, but that you didn't have 15 years ago, so or well, 20 years ago. So this brings huge opportunities to better understand your customers, but that's also a big challenge in the sense that you will have, before you can exploit this data, you have first to make it in a coherent set, right? And that's what data integration is about. So to recap, the fragmentation of channels and their multiplications means that you have diversification of channels, right? You also have complexifying relations between these channels in the sense that customers jump from one channel to another in complex ways. They check your website and then they visit your store, but they don't purchase. They go back to and they end up buying your product not on your website but on Amazon, for example. How do you so you have a lot of information about the behavior of your customer and their profiles, but potentially first you have to integrate the data that you gathered from your point of sales, from Amazon, from your website, from your mobile app, from your channels, basically. So the business stake is this one. How do you manage the complexity of multi-channel distribution in order to leverage the opportunities that this new data provide? What you will be able to do if you actually manage the integration of these data sets that inform you about your customers, you will be able to do three things. The first one is to provide a coherent experience for your customers across channels, and I would say that's a minimum, right? If you understand better how your customers use your channels, you will be able to actually first provide exactly the right services on the right channels. So for example, if you realize that you opened a Facebook page for your customers, and first you created this Facebook page just for promotional material, but then tracking data about how your customers use your Facebook page, you realize that they use it a lot to send complaints about your product and services. Realizing that might help you actually divert a part of your budgets and efforts from call centers to actually a better managed Facebook page that would provide the after-sales service for your customers. So in order to achieve that, you have to have a view on how do your customers use your different channels, and how do they use it for their own interests. You can also provide a consistent customer experience by integrating the channels in such a way that the customers have a seamless experience when they jump from one channel to another. This means that when they call your call center, the actions that they took on your Twitter page or Facebook page or online platform are recorded in such a way that your call center operator has the history of these actions and can service the customer well, the best way possible according to this information. You can have that if you integrated your data from all these channels. The second way that data integration will provide business opportunities is the possibility to manage campaigns across channels. So for example, if you have data integration, that is a full view of how all your channels work together, you will be able to better evaluate the efficiency or the results of your campaigns. You can absolutely not do that if the data from your brick and mortar sales point remain completely unconnected with your online campaigns. You have to integrate sales data with marketing campaigns data online in order to know whether your budgets were rightly spent. And finally, if you have this full view on the data sets that are all generated by different channels, you will be able to understand your customers in such a way that new insights for new services or new products can be generated. So for example, you might detect that your customers have a particular way to bundle this service with this other one. And you might then realize that it could be a good thing to offer them from the start together. Or you would realize that if you take banking, that many of your customers actually never ever visit brick and mortar, your banks. In this case, it might be interesting to evaluate whether online-only banking service would be profitable for a segment of your customers. So here I want to say that data integration is not just about optimizing your existing products and services. It's also a very good lever to get insights for innovation. Okay, that's the promised land. That's what you get if you have that integration. But what are the preconditions to actually arrive at data integration? This is very hard, basically. I'll just take the simple example of two channels. You have a call center where calls to your customer service are taken, and you have a web agency that manages your e-commerce website. You would be interested in actually matching what your customers did with call centers with what the same customers did on your website. And the two pyramids are there to show you that you have 5 layers that need to be matched, or at least that shouldn't clash too much if you want these two sources of data to be matched and give you information. So physically the data might be hosted in different places, so it's no big deal, right? Because you can just through internet transport the data to another country, right? It just takes some bandwidth, but that's a bit more complex actually, because you have different laws that prevent you from exporting customer data outside of the European Union, for example, without their consent. So even this very basic thing about where can data travel might be something difficult, preventing data integration between two data sets. The second difficulty is about how do you reconcile clicks, people clicking on your website, with calls. Because people calling, you know who they are, right? You ask for their identity, and this is recorded. But people clicking, who are they? So either they're logged into your website and you have a very good view on who they are, and then the merging of the two data sets can start. But if they didn't log into your website, that becomes harder. The third layer that is a difficulty for data integration is the different software application. So here are used by your data providers. So if the call center is using an ERP, while your web agency is using a kind of a new NoSQL database, how will they communicate with each other so that data can be merged? Here I refer you to the slides and the video on APIs, on the role that APIs have for this kind of cross-software communication. Okay, infrastructure, data type, and software applications are kind of engineering questions, or legal ones, as we saw with the issue of countries. But beyond that, you also have the issue of the business culture. You might have business units that don't have the culture to actually share their data, in terms of pricing, or in terms of what price for this data. Should I give it for free, or should I staff my business unit to actually create this service of sharing the data? How long does it take to process a request? In some business cultures, this can be quick. In others, it can just be too long. And finally, the last layer, I would say, is the organizational culture about how data is conceived as something worthwhile. And again, you kind of have organizational environments where the necessity and the benefits of data and the necessity to harvest data and to collect it and to share it might not be just recognized. So data might just be erased because it takes, when the hard disk is full, we just erase it. You see many organizations where data is still not seen as something that could be relevant. It's rapidly changing, but you have to have a matching culture, at least, to enable the data integration. So I'll conclude with the jargon of data integration, a couple of keywords that you would need to know in order to follow a discussion focused on the do's and don'ts, or the pros and cons, or the challenges and the innovations in data integration. You need to know basically the terms of the main places in companies where data is actually stored, analyzed, and used. So you have ERPs, which is in the direction of the finance department, the HR department, and the logistics department, everything that deals with flows of money, products, and sales. You have the CRM, the customer relationship management system, which deals with the management of customers, so their history, the marketing campaigns applied to them, their reactions, and such. And you have a newcomer called the data management platform, which is on the marketing side for the management of marketing campaigns. In order to synthesize in one place the management of the channels where you advertise, so TV, online outlets, etc., and the places where you can provide advertisement space for the companies who offer that. Please look up these terms, and there will be important parts of your vocabulary in discussing data integration. The next steps, don't forget to watch the video lecture on APIs and go through the reading list on data integration. Thank you.